to segment 3 of Your Questions, My Answers, episode 31. And segment 3 is sponsored by Jameson Cigar Company for their very generous contest donation for the month of April. If you're not aware of it, head on over to, well, you're already here, but look around on the site. You'll find the monthly contest in which all you have to do is leave a comment on the Stogie Review Herfspace page, and you're entered to win a box of Jameson Petit Coronas. So it's very simple. Head on over, register, leave a comment, and good luck. And well, the first topic of discussion, well, if you follow these, we do the segment 1 and 2 is questions, and segment 3 is just random discussion topics. And the first one that we have for tonight is, Brian, were you aware that our friend Tom of Tom and Ed, our guest last show, started up his own cigar blog over on Blogspot? Have you gotten the chance to read that at all?
Well, I've looked at it a little bit. I haven't had a chance to go through it too much. It's just a matter of time with everything going on. But yeah, I've noticed it's there. Yeah, and I've seen a couple of their reviews, and of course they were in on the last Your Questions, My Answers, which was probably one of our better shows. It looks great, and the cool thing about it is unlike our situation where we're switching back and forth between me in Atlanta and you up in Pennsylvania. They're both sitting there at the shop smoking and shooting the breeze, and I mean, you've got Ed rocks. Tom's pretty cool too, but Ed rocks, and Ed just he's gonna say it, lay it down exactly how it is. And I know that we had. I don't know if we ever got that posted, but Ed had a work of art that rant on the Opus X that that I thought was great. I'm not sure if it made it into the original edition of the last Your Questions, My Answers, but it's worth it to watch the reviews simply for Ed. Now, no offense, Tom. I mean, Tom's a cool guy too. And you need Tom because Tom is excellent at baiting Ed. So it's kind of it's a marvelous duo, I gotta say. So it's well worth checking out. You remember what the URL is off the top of your head? I think it's idiot something or other, isn't it? He's got 0406 or something like that at blogspot.com. Is that right?
Yeah, it's either idiot0406.blogspot.com or idiot406.blogspot.com. Yeah, we should probably know that, but I link right through from when he leaves a comment on Stogie Review. It's in his. If you click his name, it'll take you to his website. But back to that last episode of Your Questions, My Answers. I have no idea what happened to that footage. It just kind of abruptly stops, and I look back on the original file. It's there. So I think something might have happened when it was uploaded to Blip TV, and I swapped out the original file for the one that I recompiled with that additional footage, and it just didn't seem to help. So I think what I'll have to do is just make a video on its own, or just create an entire new segment 1 for episode 30. But we definitely got to get that video up. I know Tom mentioned that he was going to be posting it on his blog at some point. So for that classic rant that went very well, and you were right on with Tom being great at baiting it in. It was just a very smooth flowing rant, and it was fun to watch and be a part of. So keep an eye out, and definitely check it out. As soon as it goes up.
On another interesting topic, I've got what looks like a small nub fire in my ashtray. That I smoked it right down to the nub, with the toothpick, blackened toothpick right here. Oh, well, it looks like it burned part of the toothpick completely off now. But that nub kept smoking by itself in the ashtray. So it's if it looks a little extra smoky in this particular portion of the video, it's because I've got a small brush fire in my ashtray. But yeah. Oh, and I did go. Walt was good enough to comment recently on some post or another, and I went over, and it is idiots0406.blogspot.com. So we know that's definitely what it is, and go check it out. So, back to you, Walt.
Well, I also put my nub out, and I've got a charred toothpick to show for it. I don't have the smoky issue in the ashtray. I just I neglected to empty my ashtray the last couple of times I was smoking, so I buried mine down in the ash, and it seems to have put it out pretty well. And you know, we do a lot of talking on Twitter, and I think this is one of the topics that came up during our Twitter discussion, and there was a question of what a typical progression looks like for us in a 3-cigar day. So I don't get a whole lot of 3-cigar days, but you know, on the weekends I try my best. So what do you think your typical progression looks like on a 3-cigar day, Ryan?
Ooh, boy. Well, let me think. I don't know if any are typical. I would say, okay, the most I would say the most average day, because again, I am so much in the tank for Aragonese cigars right now. I typically will smoke a Chairman double wrap or a Maduro in the morning, one of the Figurados that I really like. If not that, I'll pick something else light, or I've got a few random bundles that I've got in the humidor that I picked up along the way on a whim, and some of them are good, some of them aren't, but I've determined to soldier through all of them like a good trooper. So, have a cup of coffee with those, and it really depends on how long, if I'm smoking the Chairman double wrap. It's a lengthy cigar, and sometimes that'll take me quite a ways, and that'll burn up most of the morning. And after lunch I'll light something else up. And I really, honestly, I don't have a really default thing I'm going to smoke in the afternoon. I'll go. Sometimes I'll pick up an El Cobre. Sometimes it'll just be a bundled cigar. It really depends. Sometimes I actually will smoke one of the cigars I'm reviewing in the afternoon, and while I'm working, since I'm working from home, I'll be try to take notes on it, or sometimes I'll try to take notes on it while I'm working. But if I'm really involved with what I'm doing, sometimes I'll just smoke it for the overall kind of the impression it gives. Initially, if I'm not really paying close attention to it, because I find that cigars seem to smoke differently when you're really focusing on it. That's when I get all of those elaborate flavors, that I pick out. Of course, I should say that those aren't exact comparisons to. Well, those are comparisons. Those aren't exactly what I'm tasting necessarily. It's very reminiscent. I should mention that. And also, my warning again: reading those may cause nausea, so you've got to be careful about that. But anyway, and to find more about that, go check out the comments on the Fusion Double Maduro by Rocky Patel. You'll know what I'm talking about. But I really don't have a stock thing I'll smoke in the afternoon or in the evening. It'll be anything from mild to full-bodied. I've smoked a 601 in the afternoon. I smoke them at night sometimes. It really depends. It really depends. And sometimes I have a 4-cigar day, so you never can tell. It depends on the size of the smoke. It depends on what's on the top of the pile in the humidor. It really depends. So my day is a bit erratic, I guess. So what about you, Walt?
Well, my 3-cigar days usually happen on a Friday when I'm at my local cigar shop earlier on in the day, while you guys are still at work. And normally what I pick up is an Oliva Serie G. My local smoke shop doesn't. The one I go to on Fridays only carries one of the G Maduro, and I don't. It's not that I don't care for that cigar. It's just it's more expensive than some of the others. So a lot of times I'll start the day off with a Serie G Cameroon, or maybe a Perdomo Reserve Champagne, which is another one I like. And I'll light up a Serie O by Oliva, or a Perdomo Lot 23, or Camacho Corojo, Camacho El Legendario, something like that, so that I'm progressing. And later on that night, I may wrap up the evening with something like a Serie V, or an El Cobre, or a Perdomo Corojo, Perdomo, Habano, Corojo, or Maduro, or whatever the case may be. You know, come to think of it, I smoke a whole lot of Olivas, but on occasion I do get the opportunity to rotate in some 601 Oscaros, some 601 Maduros. You know, I've got a little bit of variety going on. I like the Aurora 1495s around midday. And then there are the other days when I'm in the mood for something stronger in the morning. And, you know, there's been times when I've lit up a Serie V, you know, first thing, and then I'll work backwards. It's not the ideal thing to do. I like to start mild and then build as the day goes on. But there's been times when I started off the day with a Serie V, followed up by a Serie O, followed up by a G Cameron or something like that, and sort of work backwards. So there is no real typical progression except for the fact that I'll go from medium, or I'll go from like a mild medium or medium to full or extra full, or however you want to put it, and that will be my progression.
Well, you know what's interesting is sorry to jump in there, Walt. I don't know if you were done or not. Sounds like you were. Yeah, if I'm going over to the cigar shop, which I typically don't get around to doing during the week. I don't cut my day in half like Walt does on Fridays and head over and hang out at the cigar shop. But Saturdays, when I have some free time, depending on what I'm up to, I'll go over and I'll hit the coffee shop, grab a coffee, and head over to a nearby the cigar shop, and you're basically in that same strip mall, and I'll go in there, and what I smoke with that first coffee, it could be anything. I recently, the past couple of times I've been in there, I had a La Flor Dominicana Lancero Double Ligero. I had one of those, and you know, I hadn't even had lunch yet, so I had that. And another time I heard tell that he had a box of really old VSGs, Ashton VSGs, so I went ahead and grabbed one of those, and those of course sold out pretty quickly. So, and you know, it again with the cigar shop on a Saturday when I typically go in there, that's changed. I find it kind of funny that a lot of times on a Saturday and a Sunday, my wife and I will be so active doing stuff. I'll actually smoke more during the week sometimes than I do on the weekend, just because I just don't have time for it. You know, if I get a long car ride, I'll you know, smoke a short story like I'm actually smoking right now, or I'll get one of those little Serie G Perfectos from Oliva, and I'll try to smoke one of those. But you know, it's kind of all over the place, honestly. So yeah, I don't know. Could be anything. It just depends on where the wind takes me and what I have and haven't smoked and what I see. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
You know, one of the other things that we that came up in our Twitter discussions was a good quality, large capacity lighter. And you know, me, when I think large capacity lighter, the first thing I think of is my Rocky Patel table torch, which I got from Famous Smoke Shop when I bought, I think it was a 5-pack of the vintage 90 or 92, and you know, they threw in a free table torch, which is like an oversized creme brulee torch. You could probably solder some pipe or you know, do minor welding with it. It gets very hot, and you know, I think the entire time I've had this, I've used it fairly frequently, and I think I may have refilled it 2, maybe 3 times. Second to that, which I carry with me daily, is my Prince Pocket Torch, which is the same model as the Blazers. The difference is, well, they're both PB207s, but the difference is that this one's missing a sticker and a child safety lock, which I really like, not having to fumble around with a safety lock. And actually, my table torch came with a safety lock, but I ground it away, and now I don't have it anymore. It just lights, so that's been great. Aside from that, you know, I really don't mess around with large capacity lighters, just because I stick with my pocket torch and my occasional. I'll use my Calibri, and that's got a fairly small fuel reservoir on it, so I don't like to use it a lot because I feel like I'm constantly refilling it. But I know Jerry's got this massive mega pump thing that just looks awesome. I've got to get my hands on one at some point. Do you have anything that is particularly large capacity?
Yeah, I've seen that thing that Jerry's got. Looks like looks like you have to have safety training to use it. You know, it's like a 2-man operation or something. I've got my Rocky Patel. You know, I don't know what sizes this comes in, but it's a nice size. It looks to me like just a regular creme brulee type of torch, but I don't make a lot of creme brulee, so honestly, not sure if it's the same thing. So I use that quite a bit. I have a little, I forget what this thing is called. It's like a Evertech thing. I actually won at, what's the name of the place there? It's a place we had an event, Charlie's Tobacco Outlet in North Carolina, which it's neat. It's a little three flame thing. I've had issues with relighting it, but it's pretty nice. But yeah, you know, the other large capacity lighter, which I think I have somewhere, but haven't gotten around to using. Actually, 2. I really have far too many lighters, it turns out. But there's a Lotus that I see a number of people carrying around, especially at Hearths, and I think I picked up one at one point and proceeded to almost immediately lose it. So that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad way to go. I know one guy brings it around with him all the time, and you know, he just uses it for days on end. You know, no issues with that. And that's a cool torch. I need to see if I can find mine, or if it's gone for good. Also, in terms of large capacities, Alec Bradley has a little tabletop thing that it's like a little Bunsen burner, which I've used a few times, but I don't know. I think I keep gravitating back to this Rocky Patel little soldering tool that I've got here, basically. So that's what I typically use. It's been fairly reliable. I know that one of the things I've been kind of wondering about is over time it seems like every lighter I ever have just kind of goes to hell. So it's gotten a little flakier with time. So I'm crossing my fingers, hoping it lasts for a while. But I got it free like Walt did, so I can't complain too much. Well, I didn't get it free. Of course, I bought something, and they threw that in. So I have a lot of lighters, but you know, the funny thing is I'm always bumming them. For whatever reason, I'm always bumming them in the cigar shop, and I find myself in the car fumbling around and finding myself lighting with a Bic lighter, which, you know, that sounds pretty bad, but yeah, that's how it goes, I guess. Yeah, that's all I've got. I think that's more than enough, too.
I recently got an email from Paul, and he was asking my opinion on a mystery cigar review, which I thought was a pretty cool idea. And what he would like to do is either see one of us send another one of us a cigar, or he would like to send one of us a cigar without a band, and he said that he would like to include the band in a sealed envelope so that we can do the review and then sort of open the envelope and see exactly what it was that we just reviewed. And I think that'll really take away from any bias that we might have. And we try to be as unbiased as absolutely possible. But I think that will totally eliminate the bias and be pretty cool. Have you ever given any thought to doing anything like this? Or would you be up for it? And that's really going to put us on the spot, but I think it'll be fun in the end.
Well, it's going to make me look like a dummy, because I'll end up loving a Helix or something like that, or what are some of the other ones? The Equus, or however you say that Jerry so famously smoked. Wind up giving it a glowing review only to find out it's a dog rocket. No, I'm fine with it. It's I go with whatever I find in a cigar. So I mean, I try not to take the band into too much accounts when it comes down to smoking it. I've had to give bad reviews to cigars that I really kind of felt bad having to do it, and I said I hate to have to give it a bad review, and I really had higher expectations, but so I'd be fine with this. It would make for an interesting review. I'd do it.
Well, that sounds good. We'll have to get that thing underway. Maybe do a monthly feature or something out of it. I don't know that it's something that would be cost effective or feasible to do on a regular basis. You know, mailing cigars back and forth, and you know, including a separate envelope with the band in it and whatnot. But you know, I like the idea, and I think it'd be fun. But you know, you had mentioned that Eco cigar, or how, whatever it's called. You know, as bad as that review was, or as bad as that is of Jerry's opinion. You know, oh wow, I'm really stumbling here. As bad as Jerry made that cigar seem, I just really want to try one, but I haven't had the heart to order one. So at some point, I think I'm going to order one just as either as a novelty to keep in my humidor to remember, you know, that very glowing review, or just to try and I don't know, see if I can reproduce those results myself. I don't know, maybe I just got some crazy thought in my head, but I want to give it a try.
Yeah, I'm afraid to give it a try. I don't want to get overly sick. Well, I don't have to worry about getting sick on camera because I do the written reviews. Maybe I can write in blah or something on the review. At this point in the review, I hurled. Yeah, it'd be kind of interesting, and you know, we could try taking a guess at what the cigar is too. But I mean, I gotta say, I'm no Pete Johnson. I don't know the cigars well enough to be able to tell you all the different composition in it without looking at my cigar encyclopedia. But I can take a wag at it. I mean, you know, if I smoke a Cameroon, I'm gonna know it's a Cameroon. I mean, at least the wrapper. I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to tell you about the all the filler and everything else in it. But you know, hey, I can you know, be kind of fun to take a wag at what you think it is. I've noticed every now and then when I'm smoking, so I'm like, yeah, I definitely taste X or Y in that. So it's you know, as I smoke more and more cigars and become more and more acquainted, and you know, make connections in the brain here of the different types of cigars I've been smoking. You know, it could become a pretty interesting, kind of a fun challenge to do. So anyway, yeah, so I'm down for it.
Well, really, that pretty much covers all the discussion topics I had outlined. So let's roll right into what we've been smoking. And this week's been fairly slow for me, actually. Friday's review was the Rocky Patel Edge Sumatra. I've had a Perdomo Habano Corojo, I believe. Yep, Corojo. Flor de Oliva Corojo, which is very affordable and a very good cigar for the price. And I've had a couple of nubs, a nub Habano, and tonight the nub Connecticut. So overall, I mean, it's Thursday night. This includes cigars I've had over the weekend, so it's been a little slow. Well, it includes cigars I had on Sunday. Saturday was last week, and I'm going to include those in a separate write-up or whatnot. But it's been fairly slow for me. What about you, Brian?
Well, it's been a little slower for me. I think I kind of have that impression, just because I didn't really get around too much to the shops on the weekends, so I get busy. I'm smoking my normal assortment of smokes throughout the day. I did do the Oliva Special S Torpedo, which, you know, I thought it was a pretty good cigar. It was interesting. I had a really great experience smoking while with my morning coffee. One day, and the next day it wasn't quite as glamorous, but you know, I think overall it was pretty good. It strikes me as a cigar that you know, it's gonna be for people who like the milder smokes, I think. So I've been doing that. I smoked an Aragonese double wrap this morning. I've got a whole mess of I got a bunch of the CAO VRs that I've been trying to smoke through. So I've been smoking a few of those. Those are all right. I think I like the VR Black better. I picked those up. I think I picked those up for a Dogwatch cigar radio thing, and only to find out I picked up the wrong one. So I have a bunch of those that I've been working through. Smoked through a few of the bundles I've got. Some of them I'm not even sure what one of them is. I think Funadores or something like that. And yeah, it's an alright smoke. Now let me think. Boy, I don't know. It hasn't been an overly exciting week for cigars. I got to tell you, it's just. I think maybe I smoked fewer this week than I have recently. You know what it probably is? It's probably been that we've had hellacious pollen recently. So for a while there, I really cut back just because I like to smoke with the window open, so my wife doesn't try to kill me for smoking up the house too badly. And with as soon as you open the window, we've got this nasty, thick yellow pollen that just it descends on things. It just kind of it starts to. It's like it almost starts eating everything and turning it yellow. So, and that's not the stuff that really gets to you. It's the stuff you can't see. But the stuff you can see kind of grosses you out. So, I think that's part of it. So honestly, not terribly exciting. I think I smoked. I've smoked let's see, a short story, and I think I actually smoked an Opus X over the weekend that I picked up, one of the small little Perfection No. 5s, and I think that pretty much covers it. That's about it. So.
Well, the only thing left really is to announce the winner for this week's call-in and leaving a question, and that goes to Keith. So Keith, get me your mailing information, and I'll have your 601 Oscuro 3-pack in the mail with 2 additional cigars. And I hope you enjoy them. I wanted to thank everyone for calling in, and hope to hear some more questions next week. And again, anyone that calls in will be entered into a raffle for a chance to win a 601 Oscuro 3-pack. And to do that, you can call in through Skype for free. To just contact W-White0720. Wait a minute, now I'm confused. W-White72082, and leave me a voicemail there. You can record yourself with anything you have on your computer, and email me your question, and we'll enter it that way. Or you can give me a call at 610-572-2636, and that's really all there is to it. Call, leave a question, and you'll be entered to win. So, with that said, Brian, why don't you take us on out?
All right. Well, I'd like to thank all of the sponsors. Let's see, we had Jameson Cigar and Cigarmony and Dogwatch Cigar Radio. I think that covers all of them. Thanks for sponsoring us. Thanks for helping us do what we do. I'd like to thank everybody for watching and for the questions. We don't have a show if you don't ask questions, so keep them coming in, like Walt says. Any way you want to do it. And we'll thanks again to everybody, and we'll catch you again next time. See you.